Oh right, ignore the barking in the background. That is dogs, obviously. Hi, hello, welcome back. We're gonna ignore it. It's your favorite main character of every Pride Parade ever. I don't know, somebody told me that in one of my comments, and I have no idea what that means. Whether it's a compliment or like an insult. It just being a comment in general is very odd. So, anyway, hey y'all. You know how I said I was going to post like every 10 days and then I didn't do that and it's been like months? Yeah. Nothing much has changed except that I think I'm in my self-destructive era, to be honest with you, but I won't hold you too long with that information. So today, obviously, I am going to be talking about fanfiction. I love fanfiction, by the way, particularly OC fanfiction, if you couldn't tell from my talking of writing fanfiction or wanting to write fanfiction. So today I am going to be recommending some fanfiction. All of these are on Wattpad because that's where I read my fiction from. The first one I have to tell you is called Alicia Riddle, a Harry Potter fanfiction by And She Writes. All of these will be linked in the description. If they're not linked in the description, remind me because I probably forgot. Anyway, this one is completed. It is a trilogy, actually, and it is... I'll read you the synopsis. Alicia Riddle, a talented witch raised by her uncle, Severus Snape, on the grounds of Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry, is about to have her life changed as she finally enters the ranks of a Hogwarts student. After discovering that she was created by Voldemort in a highly unorthodox way, she is soon going to be called upon to uphold her birthright and join her father and restore him to glory and power. That is so many ands. Can she defeat her birthright and her father to defend herself and her friends? Alicia must make the choice between love and heritage, but will she make the right choice? So this one is actually a really interesting story. It starts with obviously our main character. I think her name was pronounced Alicia. I'm pretty sure I kept pronouncing it Alyssa when I was reading it for some reason. But Alicia, she lives in Hogwarts, as I mentioned, and the story actually begins let me think. She doesn't quite... I think she does come in her first or second year. I think that's when she actually starts school. But her uncle is Severus Snape, quote unquote. Her bio father is a Voldemort. I was going to say Tom Marvolo Riddle, but I'm not even sure if this is correct, but I don't know why I was going to say the whole name anyway. If you've been on my channel for a while, you've noticed I have a thing for saying, like, villains' full names for no reason, if I know them. Anyway, so that one's actually really, really good. It's got roughly 34 chapters, I think. I think some of those are author notes, but there are 3 books in the whole thing, and I do recommend all 3 books. It was quite the ride to read, honestly. Oh, I forgot to mention that these are all going to be Harry Potter fanfictions. I have so many... Well, I have like a few different fandoms that I read. But yeah. So the first one is Alicia Riddle, second one is Alicia Dumbledore, and the third one is just Alicia, which I think is very interesting. And it's actually really, really good. Slight spoilers until I put my hand down. The love interest is Neville Longbottom, which I typically don't like, but it was done in a very interesting way that I didn't hate immediately. Alright. Okay, I lied. I guess I don't have that many for Harry Potter. So, you know why? It's because a lot of Harry Potter stories are just not written in an interesting enough way that I would recommend them. Oh, there is one more. So you know what? I'm gonna do Harry Potter and we'll do Boku no Hero Academia / My Hero Academia as well. So this will be a two-parter, I guess. It's gonna be a really long video, but it's better than having it be like 7 minutes. I don't really like short videos. I think I've mentioned this. Alright, the second one, Harry Potter, that I have to recommend is called Lumos. This one is by Draninator. It says it's ongoing, but I could have sworn it was completed. The synopsis is: Elvira Steele was a late bloomer. Her parents were worried she'd be the first squib in their pure blood heritage, the first non-magic child in their long line of Gryffindors. Of course, they'd love her no matter what the turnout, but were ecstatic when Elvira finally turned her father's prized broomstick into a mouse. She was to attend Hogwarts and live her dreams of becoming a powerful Aurora, or even simply a teacher at Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry. Her future was set. That is, until the Sorting had decided to change her life forever. Anyway, so ceremony, Elvira Steele is thrown into a whirlwind of chaos, magic, friendship, and dark arts, as she realizes things are not as simple as they seem. Not all Gryffindors are brave and good, and neither is every Slytherin cunning and selfish. Her loyalties are tested at every turn of the road, and she finds herself slowly slipping into a darkness she swore she would never near. Through the battle between good and evil, Elvira uncovers twisted, unexpected secrets from her heritage and has to make choices that no 17-year-old should ever have to make. This one's a bit of a darker story. Not to say that the Alicia series is not a dark story. It does get kind of dark, but it starts a little bit lighter at the beginning. This one immediately starts off, I believe, in like 4th year? I think. I don't think it starts at the very beginning. But I guess slight spoilers for the love interest. Till I put my hand down, obviously. It's Draco Malfoy. Right? I think that's how you pronounce it. I always pronounce it kind of wrong. Like it's either Draco or Draco. I think it's Draco. Despite only having seen the film. Despite only having seen the films, I always pronounce it weird. Anyway. Yeah, so he is the love interest, and another spoiler, she actually becomes a Death Eater. I think. If this is the story I think it is, which I haven't read it in a while, then she does become a Death Eater. So that's another interesting piece of information. I actually really just love this author. They did an Avatar: The Last Airbender series that I really enjoyed. I kind of fell off from it just because I didn't like the direction the story was going in. But yes, so Lumos and Alicia Riddle are my 2 recs for Harry Potter. I apparently have a lot more for Boku no Hero and Naruto. I have so many for Naruto. Anyway, right, so the first one I'd like to mention, whoops, I have so many things on this desk. I have like so much stuff on this desk. Alright, so let's start with, I also have a lot of Vampire Diaries. If anyone's interested in that, I'll probably make that video at some point. A lot of Vampire Diary OC recs, which are really hard because a lot of them are just OP and they're really boring to me. Anyway, right, so this is not the first one. I always click on this one thinking it's the first one, and it is not the first one. Okay, so it is called Heroes Don't Exist, BNHA. Obviously, this one is from Akatsuki Slut. This one is also completed, and this one gets really dark. It does actually get really, really dark. But there are 2 books. This one, Heroes Don't Exist, and Samurai. Both really good. The way that this author writes, before I get into it, the way that this author writes is they write in first person and third person, but they don't differentiate like first person or third person. It just kind of switches at some point. Obviously, these aren't published books. I wanted to mention that in the beginning. These aren't published books. They haven't gone through an editor. So some of the writing's iffy. There are plot holes. There are missed grammar. Some sentences don't make fully sense. Like that sentence didn't make sense fully. So just, you know, if you read fan fiction, then you know. Like if you've been doing it for a while, then you get it. You get it. Anyway. So this one, for heroes do not exist. There's no such thing as a hero. As far as I'm concerned, you shouldn't need some bullshit label to do the right thing. Izanami Shi would stop at nothing to fulfill her vow. Stuck between what's right and what's wrong and bound by her own Bushido code, this rising hero would do whatever necessary for the greater good. Even if it meant sacrificing friends, even if it meant sacrificing family, even if it meant sacrificing love, even if it meant sacrificing her own life. Because she wasn't a hero, as far as she was concerned, heroes don't effing exist. It's actually really good. It is honestly really good. I enjoyed this story. I actually reread it recently, and it's so good. I actually want to print it out and like bind it myself. Like I really would want to do that. You know how people were binding fan fiction? If you didn't know that, it's so fun. They were doing it a lot with I think a certain Mortars era story and like a certain Dramini story, like Manacled I think it's called. I haven't read it. I have no interest in reading it really. But this story, anyway, let me not get into that. This story is really good. It is kind of dark. This main character, Izanami Shi, she actually knows Bakugo and Midoriya like in middle school, before they go to high school, obviously. And she is pretty close with Midoriya and like on Bakugo. I don't remember who the love interest is. I kind of does kind of like go all over the place with like who her love interest is gonna be. Oh, I do remember actually. Spoilers for actually the endgame love interest and the second book. It is Shoto Todoroki. But yeah, it's actually it's a really good commentary on what would probably happen. There are some twists and turns in there that make me so sad. I think I actually might have cried while reading it, because there are a few parts that are they're really sad. They're mostly in the second book, I'll admit, but yeah, it gets kind of dark there. It's so good though. It's so good. Okay, this one I technically also do recommend. So this one is called BNHA Hyrith, which the author has already made a comment about how they didn't know the significance behind that word. But to go back and change everything is just, you know, it's a fan fiction. Like if she was gonna publish it, then like she would, but it's too much work otherwise. This one, so there are actually I think 2 books in this series. I didn't like the second book. I stopped reading the second one because of who the endgame love interest was, and I wasn't vibing with it. It didn't come out of nowhere. I'll admit it did not come out of nowhere. I just don't really like that character, so I didn't really mesh with it that well. But the first book was really good. It also is really dark, and this character, before I get into it real quick, is she's kind of OP, but she's really cool in the way that they go about it. This is by the same author, Akatsuki Slut. I believe it's Akatsuki Slut, or it's Akatsuki Slut, which I think is just Akatsuki. Anyways, the synopsis. Sometimes the world doesn't need another hero. What it needs is a monster. Love that off the bat. Hana Fumetsu isn't your typical Mary Sue. In fact, she isn't even human. A combination of cruel insanity, dark humor, and provocative thinking mixed with a dash of masochism and mischief. Follow our little she-devil as she causes mayhem and searches and experiences something she's never felt before. A high wraith. Which, it's a good story, right? If you can get past the word, it's really long for one, but if you can get past the word, it is actually a pretty good story, and there is a second book if you're interested. Spoiler for the endgame love interest. Okay, before I get into that, actually, there are 3 love interests, and they are all 3 love interests. Like, they are clear. They are clearly carved out, I guess. But the endgame love interest is actually Kirishima. I just don't really vibe. I just didn't vibe with that. I think she didn't belong to Kirishima, but as I kept reading a little bit, it made sense why she was with Kirishima, to be honest. But I didn't finish the second book, like I mentioned, so I don't know how it ends, to be honest with you. Another book. Okay, so this one, it's a relatively short read. It's called Healer, and it's in the title, so it's not really a spoiler. The love interest is Shigaraki. There are just about... It's completed, and it is by... The author is Shigi with 4 Ys. This one says, "Hi, I saw a flyer that said the League of Villains were hiring," a cute girl said as she entered the hideout of the notorious villains. Healer. A story in which a bubbly girl joins the League of Villains and tries to heal the one and only Shigaraki Tomura. "That's why you want to borrow my clothes? So that you can go to the store and steal some Kit Kats?" Shigaraki asked, confirming the bullshit that he was hearing. Warning, slight OOC, cussing, and bad plot. So, oh wow, this was written in the span of a month. Okay, I mean, there's only 21 chapters, but like, my poor readers would beg to differ that it would take a month to write that. Anyway, it's a cute, short little story. It has a happy ending. It's got hanging with the League of Villains, if you're into that. It's just a fun little story. It's really, well, short compared to a lot of fics. But yeah, those are the fics I have. I feel like I can throw in a few different ones. You know what? I'm gonna make a separate video with like random, okay, here's what I'll do. I'll make a separate video with, not Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. What is it called? The Vampire Diaries. And then I'll throw in all the random fics that I have also, because I have like 1 from a certain fandom, 1 from another fandom, 1 like 2 from another fandom, like kind of just, you know, all over the place. Anyway, yes, so that is that. That's the video. Yeah, comment down OC fics that you recommend. I don't care what site they're on. Just comment them down. I'd love to hear from them, particularly from BNHA, MHA, Naruto, actually. I forgot that I have a lot of those too. I'll make another video with Naruto. Maybe I'll do Naruto and TBD and the random ones in there at the end. Let me know. Or do you want them separate? Do you want them separated? Would it be easier like that? I'll eventually go back and chapter these videos. But it's just a lot of work, and the fact that I have to edit this one now because I was so rudely interrupted sucks on its own. But yeah, that's I think that's all I have. Don't expect a video from me every time. I'm kind of low-key running out of ideas. I don't really shift anymore because I'm already having trouble staying grounded in this reality. So going to another reality is just not the move. However, I am slowly writing again my fan fictions and my actual just stories I've been working on. If you want to hear more about either of them, I would literally love to tell you. I would so love to tell you. But yeah, I think that's gonna be all from me. If there's anything you'd like to see from me, it doesn't have to be shifting related because I have very limited shifting knowledge. I kind of want to react to like maybe shift talk or maybe not shift talk. Shift talk sounds like a mess. Let me not do that actually. I don't want to do that. I don't know. I know I said I was gonna watch like anime and react to it, like do like a first watch of some animes, but I don't think I could put that on YouTube. Specifically because I don't know how to get around. I don't know how people that post reaction content, like I don't know how they get away with posting it, to be honest with you. So I'd probably put that on like a Patreon. I think I mentioned this before, but I'd probably put on a Patreon and I'd make it like $1 or something. Or like $3, depending on how Patreon works. I don't know what the minimum is, to be honest. But yeah, I'd probably do something like that, and just so it could be easier. But yeah, I don't have much to say anymore. I had a whole plot. Thank you if you're still subscribed and you didn't unsubscribe because you saw this video. Yeah, I don't know what I'm gonna do, honestly. I'm just trying to live life here. So, thank you for watching. Thank you for your time, and you'll see me in the next one.